Hello, and welcome to We the Village, produced by Ron Hall, and I'm your host, Sharonda Allen. And today, I have Leo Bridgewater with me. Welcome to my show, We the Village.
Thank you, Sharonda. Thanks for having me.
I am just so grateful to have you because you are a very interesting, industrious guy, you know? And we met at a festival, and I was like you were talking, I'm like, hey, you know what? Hold that thought. You got to come say this on air.
Yeah, you did do that. Yeah,
I
that's
said
exactly
that.
what you said, yo.
Hold this thought.
Sure did. You stopped me like mid-story.
And I wasn't trying to be rude because I was like, I love this and I need this to be like out there.
I think the way you explained it to me was you wanted me to continue, but when I continued it, you wanted it to be the first time you're hearing it.
Yeah.
So that your reaction would be whatever it is that I was going to say would be
Authentic.
genuine. Yeah, authentic. Yeah.
So just tell me, what's your background? Where'd you come from? And education, with hobbies, all that good stuff.
Okay, I am a native-born son of Trenton, New Jersey.
All right.
I graduated from Trenton Central High School in 1994. I was part of the first ninth grade. And I attended, after high school, I attended St. Augustine's College in Raleigh, North Carolina. And then I entered into the United States Army as a result of the September 11th attacks.
Wow.
My actual career field in the Army was DoD telecommunications. So I dealt with satellite and microwave communications. I was fortunate enough to be able to be on a comms package or work for men like General David Petraeus, and Admiral Mike Mullins. Dave Petraeus ended up becoming director of the CIA, and Admiral Mike Mullins became chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff. But I caught them a lot sooner than before they became who they became.
Wow. So what was your major in
In college?
Yes.
Psychology.
Wow.
Yeah, I know, right? Yeah. It's the most natural. Let me tell you, psychology is the most natural study
It is.
for a dude from Trenton, New Jersey, for a
Why-
cat from Jersey.
why
period.
is that?
Because we are all born with the gift of gab.
We are the biggest talkers. Oh my God. We're talkers, we're storytellers. I don't know if it's the fact that we are so densely populated and so diverse that we have to be able to communicate with different types of people at so many different levels and so many different things, so much exposure.
And it's given, well, it's how I've had success within my technical career.
Nice.
Because it's allowed me, one of the things about being a telecommunications specialist is the ability to effectively communicate is paramount.
Yes.
You could easily find yourself in situations where, and I've been in those situations where you only have one chance
Yes.
to call home for help.
Right.
And you have to be able to get your wording, your diction, everything has to be on point because you may never get help.
Right.
If you go all messed up, you only get one chance.
To effectively convey
Yes.
that message.
Yup, where I am,
Yes.
what's happening.
Yes.
All of that
What you
stuff.
need.
Yup, what I need.
Yeah.
All that has to. Sometimes you may be in a situation where you only get one chance to say that. Other times you may be in a situation that I found myself in a lot, where you're actually giving briefs to high-level figures.
Right.
And so my job was, whenever these generals and admirals were having these high-level meetings, my job was to make sure that they had the ability. So the VTC suite, where you've seen it, where the generals are talking to each other on TV.
Yeah.
I'm the guy that made that happen.
Wow.
So I would
Serious.
have to bring, and so by default, because of my job, I would actually have to be in the room, and I would hear things and see things, and we are watching these men make some very scary decisions, and I learned that it's much easier to bring down a country than it is to actually run one.
Of course it is, and we have different motivations for being in a particular country. We're not going to go into that because that's a whole nother show.
Well, that's the political side of it
Yes.
all. I as a soldier, my job is just to follow orders. I mean,
Right.
You have the greatest military in the history of the planet, And there's a reason for that.
Well, I'm going to say, we got to be careful just following orders. See, I think that's what makes me not a military person. I'm a pygmy Amazon warrior, but I'm not a military person. Because if I was given an order, I'd have to be able to rationalize that order. But why? Because I may find there's a better way for me to do something, or that it, to me, is not feasible in the long run. It may be immediately expedient, but to me, it's not for the greater good of the colony. So sometimes I struggle with, wait a minute, it may not be in my best interest, but it may be better for others. So I couldn't go to the military because of that. You
just confirmed my service.
What is that?
You had the freedom to be able to not.
The freedom, that's right.
You had the freedom to be able to make the decision not to go into the military.
Yes.
You actually had the freedom to express why you wouldn't go into the military.
Right.
I've been in places where you couldn't even do that.
Absolutely.
Everything that you just said is enough to get you killed.
Yes.
In certain countries.
Yes. As a woman too.
Yeah, that too. Yep. And so what you just effectively demonstrated was a confirmation of my military service.
Absolutely. And I thank you.
Oh, my honor, definitely.
And you're still here to talk about it.
I am. I made it home. Yeah.
You made it. And in one piece, one sensible piece, talking here, communicating.
Correct.
Because that's it. I've seen casualties.
I have too. And there's some of the greatest casualties are some of the greatest injuries are the ones you can't see.
Yeah, absolutely.
Which is how we ended up meeting at the Lincoln Park Festival.
Yeah.
Because I also advocate, I'm a national director for Veterans Outreach with Minorities for Medical Marijuana.
Yes.
We're a 501c3 based out of Florida, but we have chapters in New Jersey.
M4MM.
M for MM is dope.
Yes.
Our CEO and founder, Roz McCarthy, is the one who actually, she got started with this organization after, losing her mother to, I believe it was breast cancer, and then finding out that, through cannabis, her mother's final days could have been much more comfortable had she had access to this. And, when a lot of people like myself as advocates who have gotten into this business, the thing that brought us here is when something happens to you or someone you love, for a lot of people, that's a different kind of motivation.
Yes.
It's a different type of energy. It's a different type of strength. It almost cannot be reasoned with.
Yes.
It almost you can't fight it off. It's that strength that makes mothers lift up cars off their kids.
Yes.
That's what it is. Yep.
Yes,
that's
it
what
is.
it is. That's
fight or flight.
Yep. That's where it comes from.
And I'm trying to learn flight, because when my adrenaline responds that way, it's like fight, because I just cannot accept that type of subjugation. And I was born that way. Since preschool, since forever. So I agree, and it's a thing where you fight. If you fight, you get to survive. People think if you fight, you go to battle, you might win, you might beat it. But the flight, turning your back on a problem and maybe just going into yourself, that's how people, I believe, many times become destroyed. Unless they can go into themselves and become very reflective and constructive. Because Ayanna Van Zandt talked about value in the valley. That's where you're in the valley. But do you stay at that mountaintop and say, wait a minute, no, I'm fighting off these attacks? Because, as humans, we got different kinds of people. We got people who will go with that flow of that river, and there's some people who will fight back. And what are they doing when they're fighting back? Swimming is the least weight-bearing exercise. It's the best exercise you can have. So as you fight the current, you're getting stronger. Your muscles are getting built, and it's not as difficult as trying to run or lift weights. So it's like, do you go with the flow, or do you fight the current and become stronger?
Well, when you look at the current political, racial, and mental climate of this country today,
right now,
that fight aspect,
Yeah.
Sometimes, and mind you, I'm one of 3 veterans who testified in Senate committee to have post-traumatic stress disorder added as a qualifying condition to the New Jersey medical marijuana program. And in 2016, Governor Christie signed our bill into law. But in this journey and learning about that whole aspect, especially when it comes to the fight,
Yeah.
I've learned, and you probably will agree with me, there are a lot of people where they are the most alive when there's some stuff going on.
Oh, yes, yes.
That's when they're the most animated, the
Yes.
most awake,
Yes.
the most into it. You know, there are a lot of people who don't do peace and quiet very well.
They
for long.
don't. They don't.
You know, they have to introduce some sort of a life bomb into the situation,
Right.
in order to feel okay. You know,
Yeah.
like and so there are people who, you know, and a lot of times what happens is with post-traumatic stress disorder,
Yes.
it's the fight or flight
Yes.
thing. Now,
Yes.
here's the thing. Our bodies are not meant to be under those extreme conditions on a continuous basis.
Constantly, yeah.
What's supposed to happen is you're supposed to be allowed to come down for a minute
Yeah.
and let your body heal from being all through that situation.
Yes.
But when you look at certain communities,
Yeah.
certain households, that is a continuous thing. Now, when
Yeah.
your body is under that kind of condition on a continuous basis, what literally happens is you're biologically and physiologically,
Yes.
your wiring gets redone.
Yes, it does.
And so that's why you have people who are much more comfortable when there's some
Chaos.
when chaos is going on, they thrive in that situation. And so, you know, this journey has opened up a lot of, you know, like, oh, that's why. It's explained a lot of people to me.
Yes, it has. But I from my perspective, and I agree. What has happened with me, I love peace. I love peace. And I think sometimes because I love peace and have a good time and get along and be collegial, sometimes people take that as, who does she think she is, trying to be happy? Why are you so happy? Let me do something to not make her happy. But what they don't know is that I love to be happy. I have that excitement of, yeah, let's have a good time. But my brain has been rewired to not be upset about, oh my God, you try to do that. I get that same excitement and say, oh, you want to go to war, do you? This will be the most glorious war you've ever fought in your life.
Yep. Oh, I revel in that.
Yes,
Yeah.
I revel
Yeah.
in this. Pick me Amazon warrior.
Yeah.
Thank you for a chance to take out my bow and arrow, to take out my boomerang. And that is a very good point, because sometimes people get rewired to go into battle and win.
Yep.
Some people are winners. You're going to win at peace. You're going to win at war. And people have to be cognizant of picking fights and battles with people, because you don't know that energy, that velocity, that energy, that speed will go whatever direction you point it to.
Let me tell you.
You know?
No one prays for peace more than the American soldier.
Oh, yes, I believe that.
Okay? And the reason being is because when you know what you have, when you know the type of might that you can command, that you are a part of, with great power comes responsibility.
Great responsibility,
And
absolutely.
so, in the theme of, you know, no one praying more for peace than a soldier, is because, you know, we always are you sure you want to ride this train?
Right. That's why, for me, I'm not a military person, because if I'm going to fight, it has to be justified. I gotta be right. Whenever I fight hard, it's because I know I'm right.
Well, see, to be honest with you, that's also why you would be a good soldier. I get it, but you remember, I'm having been in the system and understanding how it works. The best soldiers, whether you realize it, most people don't know this, but the best soldiers, you know, my old drill sergeant used to say, the best soldiers are the ones who are the thugs and the big country white boys. Because the thugs, you know, everything's about a hustle.
Right.
So they know, and they ready to jump.
Yeah, let's make it happen.
The big country white boys, the ones on the farms, you know, they about that work. You know, hey soldier, why'd you knock that building down?
Right.
Drill sergeant, you said to clear the building, so I cleared the building by
Right.
knocking the whole thing down.
Right.
It's no, you know, you don't have to tell them much. You just
Right.
got to, and they're normally the ones that no matter what you throw at them, they just keep coming back.
Right.
And
right.
that's how it works, not just in the military, but in the specialized sections of the military, like Ranger School, like Special Forces. Those are schools, those are just a few of the schools in the military that are geared toward kicking you out. They want the ones that no matter what they threw at them, they just keep coming back. The thugs.
So I know I'm too old for Ranger School. Because
you don't want that.
No, but let me tell you, I'd win. But that's another note. Anyway. But the thing is that
you're talking about being in the swamps of Georgia.
Well, that's the thing. But that's the thing. That's why I haven't gone to the military. Because for what? So, but let's get back to this.
We digress,
But it's okay because this is part of what it is. Because when we learn and when our brains are rewiring to understand things, I have an interest in cannabis and marijuana. Why? Because I watched so many of my potential husbands being destroyed because of this plant. That is amazing because I know the history of cannabis. I understand when cannabis was legal during Prohibition. And I understand some of the notions as to why cannabis was made illegal and the fact that it was demonized by people who were into big pharma. And all these men still today, my potential husbands, are locked up, ruined, disenfranchised, even when they come out. Just out of whack from society, separated from their families, from people that they could have loved and supported and built and taken care of. And now we're bringing all this in. I mean, I don't want to jump the gun, but I feel like all of those men should be immediately released and given a dispensary. Because I know, we talked about the pricing. I know it's at least $200,000 for a dispensary. At least. That was what I heard.
Yeah, it's more than that.
Okay,
yeah, it's
right.
A lot more
at
than
least.
That. Yeah.
That's the base.
It costs $20,000 in New Jersey just to apply.
Just for the application
fee. Yeah, I mean, if you don't get the license, you get 18 of that 20 back.
So they keep you $2,000 for processing.
Yep.
So let's talk about your Leaf Launch, your business in this.
Leaf Launch. leaflaunch.com. Is what we do is we provide the video platform, video content, and online platform for associates and Bachelor of Arts degree programs in cannabis entrepreneurship.
Wow.
And so what we do is, there's a lot of institutions of higher learning who are developing their own cannabis whatever curriculums.
Right.
So what our company does is we actually enhance what you already have. So we don't build out your curriculum. We just enhance and provide for what you have. So no matter what, your curriculum stays custom made.
Well, I'm a curriculum writer, right? You want to add some of that on there? Yeah,
okay, yeah, see,
We're building now, right? So that's where I'm at. That's that soldier, like, well, what's up?
Yeah, well, and that's how they find us. Yeah, no, not at all.
I'm not a thug.
No, it's just...
I need my camera too. I'm not a thug, okay? I'm innovative, I'm creative, I'm ready to go. Okay, back to you.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah, you got it. She crazy. But yeah, we actually just help, we enhance what folks already have,
yes.
In terms of, it's not just institutions either, it's organizations.
Yes.
A lot of a few of our clients are, private organizations who want things done in-house to help within their employee training and all that stuff, in particular when it comes to, tackling the very difficult conversation of cannabis. Regarding, what your statement regarding, what you've seen as far as, African American, your future husbands and everything, it's the plant didn't do this.
It wasn't the plant.
It was the illegality of the plant that did it. Now, I'm one of the named plaintiffs in the lawsuit against the Department of Justice. Yeah, we were suing Jeff Sessions, but he ain't there no more, so it's somebody else.
Who's in there now? I don't even know.
I forget the guy's name, but the Second Circuit Court of Appeals out of the Southern District in New York rendered their opinion on our case back in June.
Wow.
And what they came up with is that our group has to now go back to the DEA and we have to repetition them again to completely deschedule cannabis.
Yes.
Take it off the scheduled list of drugs.
That's it.
And but the caveat is that once we do that, then the DEA has 6 months to render their decision. And depending on what it is the DEA says, if the Second Circuit Court of Appeals doesn't like what they see or hear, they just may effectively be like, you know what? It's unconstitutional.
For everybody.
And
Knock
then
it all out.
If they deem cannabis being a Schedule I drug as unconstitutional, that would effectively make cannabis legal in the United States.
Oh, yes.
You see what I'm saying?
So we need that.
Yeah.
But that's the thing. The fact that the law was put in place, because my grandmother in Virginia, they had a lot of tobacco, but they had a lot of hemp too.
Yep.
And paper, the original paper was made out of hemp.
New Jersey used to be one of the largest hemp suppliers in the world back in the colonial days. And,
Yes.
And in fact, when George Washington marched his troops from the Battle of Trenton to Princeton, and they took that back route that was led to them, that was shown to them by a man named Ezekiel Elliott, they crossed over. The reason why he knew where to go is because some of those properties was his father's property, his farms.
Yeah.
And turns out they were walking through hemp farms and hemp fields.
Right.
So this is hemp, this is not a new thing, to the state of New Jersey. And just for your viewers, if you want to know what is the difference between, because I get this question a lot, what's the difference between, marijuana or cannabis? We use the proper term, which is cannabis. What's the difference between cannabis and hemp? The difference between cannabis and hemp is the same as the difference between an orange and a pineapple. Same citrus family, they're from the citrus family, but their variations are completely different. The other thing about cannabis is the orange, and hemp is the pineapple. Now, here's the thing. The pineapple, the peels to the pineapple, we actually can do about 27,000 different things with those peels.
Right.
The inside of the pineapple and the orange, we can do a lot of things with those too, like make CBD oils, make, whatever it is that we can
Juice,
do. Yeah,
right?
Juice, yeah, all that stuff, yeah.
Right.
So folks would need to know, exactly how, folks need to know what the immediate difference is.
Right.
One gets you high, which has THC, that's the cannabis. The other has
Psychoactive ingredient.
correct, the psychoactive ingredient.
But the CBD.
And the CBD is what our bodies naturally produce. Your body, my body, every human being on the planet has what is called an endocannabinoid system.
That's right.
So our
With
bodies,
receptors.
yes, CB1 and CB2 receptors.
Yes.
You've been doing your work.
I'm trying to tell you. I listen.
Yeah, you on it.
You.
Yeah,
Okay?
you on it.
I
Yeah.
said, listen, man.
Yeah.
This ruined my prospects.
You
I
wanted
could have
to-
had a 2-income family.
You one of the smartest talking heads out there. You have no idea how easy you're making my job right now. Like, thank you. She knows things.
I'm saying.
Yes,
I'm just saying.
because when you look at, like, here's the thing. The one thing I will say about this cannabis legalization effort in New Jersey, it's been and every advocate that I know, all my colleagues would tell you, this has been the biggest civics lesson of our lives.
Absolutely.
I
teach civics.
Yeah,
So I do this.
Yeah, this is, remember back in the day, a bill is a bill.
Yeah.
And that's this in real life.
It is.
And, I'm always in awe, like, oh my God, like this is really happening,
Right.
and the things that we're seeing. And what folks need to know, particularly within the African American community,
Yes.
and what M for MM is fighting for, is we're fighting for more minority representation in ownership and C-suite positions in the industry. Right now, in totality, we literally make up less than 1%.
I believe it.
In this industry.
Because it was designed to shut us out, and it's being gentrified.
Yes.
And it bothers me because look at all the casualties. You destroyed all these lives, and now look. Oh, now we can do it now. So what about those men? Where are the reparations? We talked about that at the table.
Well, I said
reparations for that.
Well, see, here's the thing. I do not like using the term reparations.
That's what
with
you said.
cannabis.
Yes.
Because
it gets thrown in that bucket.
well, no, it's because what was required for us in terms of cannabis, I think reparations is cannabis could never fulfill it. Cannabis would fall completely short.
It would.
Now, instead of using the term reparations, I'd much rather use the term restitution.
Restitution.
You know,
That's what
I
you
need
said.
to be
That's
made
right.
whole. You did this to me. You did this to me. And what you have to realize is that this was made a Schedule I drug by the Nixon administration because he was specifically targeting African Americans and hippies.
Yes.
Now, throughout history, there was first the LaGuardia report.
Yeah.
You know, and the LaGuardia report surmised that we actually don't need to make this illegal. This actually may have medical benefits that we ought to explore.
Yes.
Then many years later, we have the Schaefer report. And the Schaefer report tells us, and here's the thing, this is what was commissioned by President Nixon.
Yeah.
And looking to justify why making it a Schedule I drug. And come to find out, they didn't even, the President Nixon was mad that they came up with the idea that we have folks who they wanted to use this as a tool to get to the hippies and the Black Panther Party and break up those meetings.
That's what I'm saying, and that's that history.
And that's how, and the system being set up the system being set up the way it was. You know, we were, you know, like this was a tool to lock us up, and then mind you.
Families.
635-0507. That's where you look that number up. That is actually the patent number that the United States government owns on CBD.
See? Now, you know what? I don't want to run out of time, but tell me what event you have coming up. You have
So,
an important event coming.
I do. This Thursday, you can find me at the Brooklyn Borough Hall. I'm doing the Source 360 panel. I'll be joined with Freeway Rick Ross, you know, Branson, the legendary guy from New York, Dashida Dawson, the weed head, and Layden, I can't think of Layden's last name, but the five of us will be on a panel at the Brooklyn Borough Hall. It's free. If you go to source360.com or Eventbrite and look it up, you can get a free ticket. I'm also on the board for the Cannabis Congress, the Cannabis World Congress Business Expo, and we have shows in LA, Boston, and New York. Your viewers can go on to CWCB Expo, use the code LeafLaunchEDU, and it will get you a free floor pass for all 3 days.
And what date is that?
The LA show is October 25th to the 28th, and the Boston show is, the LA show is September 25th to the 28th, and the October show is October 26th. To the 28th.
Okay. Now, what about your website?
LeafLaunch.com. You can find me at Leo Bridgewater on Instagram, Facebook. All of it's Leo Bridgewater.
And what about the M4MM?
And you can find me also on the number 4mm.org. And we have record expungement programs, brew jobs. You know, we can tell you about the types of jobs. We do fairs. We're going to be doing job fairs here in New Jersey. New Jersey's currently under RFA, so folks are filling out those applications for dispensaries, cultivation sites, you know, the whole 9 yards. That's what's happening. Those applications are due August 21st and 22nd.
Perfect. Thank you so much for coming, Leo. Oh my God.
Thanks for having me.
And thank you for tuning in to We the Village.
Oh, thank you. Take care, guys.